a 2019 fantasy football mock draft. I'm going to mock draft with you guys on ESPN. So get ready. This is going to be, I think we're going to roll. We have literally like 4 minutes to fill it. But we've done it that fast before. I don't have any doubts that we could fill this mock draft up that quickly. So let's get to it. I'll post the link in here in a second when you guys are ready. Get some more people in the room, and then we'll have at it. 2019 Fantasy Football Mock Draft live with you guys. I'll give you my commentary as we go. What's up, Grant? So here's the link. We have probably 4 minutes to fill this one. If we can't fill it, we're going to have to join another one. But this is going to be an auction, guys. So click on that link, jump in, and get to it. First come, first serve. This is auction style. I'm going to edit my team name here. We're good with that. The show. Continue in the waiting room. Okay, so let me switch around, or I'll talk to you guys for 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes and 40 seconds to fill this auction up. And wow, never mind. We're going to do it pretty quickly. We have like 4 spots left. That'll be a record. In less than a minute, we're going to fill up this 12-teamer. So what's up, Tony? Tony's in. Dang. Finally got you in, Tony. This is an auction. I hope everybody's prepared for that. Auctions. I haven't done an auction mock draft with you guys yet, so this will be pretty cool. Auction's fun. If you don't auction mock draft, it's definitely one of the funnest ways to draft. What's good? Click that link above if you want to get on the mock draft. I think maybe we've already filled the spots, have we? I think we're full. That was quick, guys. I was like, I'm always worried when there's like 2 or 3 minutes left in the timer. You guys jump in like 1 minute. You guys are crazy, man. It's like midnight Eastern. I'm a little bit earlier. Panda. Okay, Mokler. Cool. What's going on, Poke? So let me go over the details. Let me flip the screen around in a second and show you guys what's going on. But we're doing a 2019 fantasy football auction mock draft. The spots filled very, very fast. And it starts in 1 minute and 1 minute and 24 seconds. First time auction. Okay, so you're gonna have a blast, man. So essentially, what's gonna happen is, I imagine you're gonna get $200. I don't even know the details of this. I imagine it's PPR. We might. Oh, it says standard scoring type standard. Okay. Well, regardless. Thanks, Corbin. Why auction? Why not auction? It was one of the ones that were available that had 12 teams. A lot of the other ones were 10, and then there were a couple 14. And I don't want it to go too long. So auction's fun. Again, this is the one that was up, so I wanted to jump in on one that was coming up. Auction's fun. Auction is damn fun. If you haven't done an auction, you're definitely gonna have a good time. And if you haven't enjoyed them, give it a try here. This should be quite a fun mock draft to have on YouTube as well. There are a lot more auctions. Auctions are getting more popular, so it's not always about what 3 or 4 or 5 people want. It's what the content will bring to the community, and auctions are damn fun. Nobody likes auction, Jake. That ain't true. Auction's growing, my friend. All right, so it's starting here. I'm going to flip the screen around. Okay, enter draft room. It's open. How can you not be excited about an auction? So $200 to spend. The draft's going to start in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. The way an auction works, if you're new to an auction, is you basically call out any player when you're on the clock. So the draft order up above, it starts off with Team Spear, then Team Huddleston. When those people are on the clock, they're not picking the player that they're nominating, but they are responsible for nominating a player. So there's strategy involved. And so I'm going to talk you through some of the strategy so you can get better auctions, so you understand auctions. There is strategy involved big time. Hit the thumbs up on your way in, guys. Please help support the show. I'll do a PPR regular next time, guys. Don't worry. But the strategy involved in this is, okay, so you think about it. You have $200 to spend, and you want to get your favorite players. Is calling out your favorite player going to make that player more expensive than normal? Or could you call it a player where you think people are scared to spend their money, and then he goes for a lower amount, and then later on people realize, damn, maybe we're underpaying for those guys, so crap, I'm going to start paying more for the other guys that follow. So it's a tough call. More often than not, the earlier a guy is called out, the more expensive he'll be. So, example, if you were to toss out a Darrell Henderson now, more than likely people are going to pay big bucks for him. I don't know if he go like in the $15 range, $20, whatever. But if you wait, when people are out of money, they tend not to go big on those types of things. Bro, can we please do a standard or PPR later? We will. I can only do like one. These are like an hour and a half long half the time, and a lot of people have been requesting auctions. I know it doesn't fit everybody's, wheelhouse, but that doesn't mean that it's not highly sought after. Auctions are getting bigger and bigger. They're the best way to draft. They're, in my opinion, the most fun way and the best way to determine your own destiny. If you do an auction draft, you can buy whatever combination of players you want. It's all up to you. Auctions are the way to control that destiny in fantasy football. So if you don't like auctions, you really should give them more of a try. What's up, Savvy? What's up, Rich? You never did an auction? Nolan, there's strategy in auctions. There's so much strategy. Auctions are so loaded with strategy. Smitty isn't ready for my meme. How much would you pay in a 16-man auction league, 300 cap for Darrell Henderson? I don't know. I'd have to see where the other players are going to because, obviously everything's dependent on that. So Barkley gets thrown on the board early. Let me try and zoom in on this so it's a little bit more clear. Hopefully that's a little clearer on screen. Can you guys see that pretty good on screen? What's up, Corey? I have everybody asking me to DM them when. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I got to kind of go over this draft. So as you can see the timer in the top left corner, so it's counting down 7, 6, 5. The bid amount is up to $72 in green at the top right. If nobody outbids that amount and it gets to 0, the player is awarded. And so pick number 1 was awarded Saquon Barkley. And let me switch over to... okay, picks. Okay, here we go. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see the picks and order as they come out. Let me move everything around so I can see. So Saquon Barkley, as you see in the bottom right corner of the screen, can you see that okay? I think you can, or is my picture in the way? I think my... Let me move myself. Where can I put myself? Oh, right there. Okay, cool. So Elliott went for $69. Now McCaffrey's getting bid. So as you can see, 69 is the price for Zeke. Barkley went 71. McCaffrey's now on the clock. 61 is the bid. I'm going to bid 63. $68 is the current high. I'll go ahead 68. So now I'm currently winning the bid. Somebody outbid me. So if you're new to auction, it's so fun. The adrenaline is through the roof on this type of stuff. The winning bid for $70 goes to Chris McCaffrey, 69, to Team Herman. Now Oliver's up. Oliver could nominate anybody. He could nominate a kicker. He could nominate a quarterback. He could nominate one of the big guns. A lot of times people throw out the big players, and the reason for that, the strategy involved in throwing out the top player, so like, a Gurley or a Bell, or you're trying to get people to spend their money. the more money people spend, the more likely they're not going to overpay later. So the key strategy to an auction would be, hey, I want to buy, let's say I wanted, and I don't, but let's say I wanted James Conner and David Johnson. So when I was up, I wouldn't call out David Johnson. I wouldn't call out James Conner. I would call out Alvin Kamara. I would call out Zeke Elliott, Barkley, because I want people to spend a ton of money so that when the guys that I really want come up, people have already bought a lot and they might not be willing to pay as much. A lot of strategy involved. You could also call out a David Johnson. Oh, I got to call someone out. Let's see. I'll go with Kamara. So right now, I've called out Kamara. And rather than wait for this to climb up 45, I'm just going to do 55. So I just went 55, threw him out for 55. I'm currently winning the bid. He goes to 60, he goes to 61. But as you can see, the trending, more than likely he's going to tail off around $68, $69. Now, you're drafting with a big group of people that are very influenced by Sleeper U, the Fantasy Football Show, and a lot of the content that gets produced by the show and the brand. Alvin Kamara is my 1.01. A lot of the people watching, so it's only natural to see him potentially go for more money than some of these other guys because we see him as a community as the 1.01. So Kamara went really high. You might see Kamara go in the $60 range in a $200 auction out in the real world, but here in the Fantasy Football Show Ville, he goes extremely high. Now Zerline, so this is a strategy. Somebody might really like Greg Zerline as a kicker. He knows that if he tosses him out now, the strategy for that is that you're basically going to get people to go, oh, I don't want a kicker. I'm not going to spend my money right now on a kicker, whereas later they may. Now, $3 or $2, I'm surprised someone even bid higher than the $1 at this point. But typically you can get like the best kicker or defense by doing an approach like that. So Team Collins is on the clock to nominate somebody, and as you can see at the very top, you can see the money left for each player. So the number Team 1, Team Spear, has 160 left because he spent 40. Melvin Gordon's up now. $33 is the current bid. 38, 47, 50. And just so you guys know, the lineup requirements for this are QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, a flex. So Melvin Gordon went for $54. So as you can see, the tone has kind of been set for what the pricing of these players are going to be. You have the high player at Alvin Kamara at 75. Now, he could have went just as easily at $71. He could have went at like 75, 70, 69. But once you get at like a high of that, yeah, it was good value for Gordon, I agree. Then you start getting people to like know that's where the ceiling is, and they don't want to overpay necessarily for anybody else higher than that. So it's kind of cool how the tone gets set. The spending in this is pretty strange because you got a guy like Gordon going for 54. You got a guy like Beckham going for 50 now, which is in the grand scheme of things a lot considering Gordon went 50. So 55 for Odell's kind of a lot considering that Gordon went for 54. So if you look at it, $57, that's a lot for Odell Beckham Jr. in standard scoring. 59 now, considering that you had McCaffrey at 69. You had Zeke Elliott at 69. Right now, Beckham, in my opinion, is way too close to those running backs. And what that tells you is that the spending could, if it continues, could be to a point where those running backs were an extreme bargain. Not always the case in these types of auction drafts. Normally, people overspend early and people get cheaper. But this is an example where people may have underspent at the beginning and now they're freaking out. In general, this is one player that got nominated and went at that value. But Odell Beckham Jr. at $63, $9 more expensive than Melvin Gordon when their ADPs are pretty far apart. $63 is literally $6 away from McCaffrey. So Odell Beckham Jr. was very, very expensive. So as of right now, I'm looking at Barkley, I'm looking at Elliott, I'm looking at McCaffrey, and especially looking at Melvin Gordon, saying to myself, these are very good values. James Conner's on the clock. $56 is the going rate. Make sure I'm got everything looking okay on the screen here. You guys see everything okay? Let me move that in just a touch. Okay. DeAndre Hopkins is at 46. I just can't believe how much Odell went for. We'll see who's going to be my first. So Hopkins went off the board for $63. Very, very expensive. If you look at the top, we got $160 free for Team Spear, $200 for Huddleston. There's still a lot of people with money. Who has no money hardly at all? So Le'Veon Bell is up $55. Everybody's pretty highly priced. And this is an example where I haven't gone in on a player yet. So Lev Bell at 54 wasn't bad. I feel like I should have went in on that. I'll see where DJ goes. But people are spending big. What that usually means is you're going to have a ton of money. Anybody with a ton of money is going to get whatever they want down the road. Now, that could be the case where they're getting whatever they want on a bunch of average players, and they can really do whatever they want, take whoever they want, but at a point where the guys aren't extremely valuable. So DJ 63. Enoch, you're saying David Johnson's overhyped? David Johnson, $65 off the board, or 64. The bids are way too high. That's why I've been waiting. I'm kind of showing some people some draft strategy here, but it doesn't always work in your advantage. It can backfire on you big time, because if you wait and you don't get one of the big name players early, you start freaking out. Spencer, because I want to mix things up, man. Auction drafts are big. People want this content too, so I can't just stick to the same old, same old. So if you look at David Johnson, 64, Devontae Adams going at 63, these guys are way too close to those top running backs. McCaffrey, 69. Adams shouldn't be anywhere close to, well, I shouldn't say anywhere close, but shouldn't be very close to McCaffrey, and his bid is 63. So Adams goes off the board at $63. Again, you might be able to, you might say to yourself, hey, that's going to give me more money later on and I'm going to clean up. But then again, everybody might blow all their money on these big name guys, and you might have, your choice of a bunch of crap in the middle. But what an adrenaline rush. If anybody hasn't done this yet, tell me what you think of this style. Does it give you is it like an adrenaline rush for you? Yeah, I can, Corbin, for sure. So going once, going twice. Michael Thomas, I got him for a very, very high amount that I didn't want to spend. But at this point, I don't want to be left without players that I don't like. So this is one of those situations where, looking back, I would have rather spent the money on a Barkley. But we'll see. I don't mind spending one solid amount on a guy like that. So Juju going for 47, 48. Yeah, Tony, I love auctions, man. They let you control your destiny. Please hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're in the room. Really helps the show out. Juju, 58. 8 seconds left. 9 seconds left. Four seconds. Yeah, Bruce, that's the truth, man. Once you go auction, it's really hard to change, and it's a shame we already have 3 auto drafters, though. Who bailed on that? That sucks. Thanks, Ted. Yeah, it's funny. There's like a lot of people amped about the auction, that we're doing the auction. There's a lot of people that aren't super pumped that we're doing auction, but you can't please everybody. And I do have to do content for everything, guys. Auctions are huge. And if you aren't doing them, you need to at least try them. They're fun. Julio is going for 46, 49, $54. Take what, Savvy? Yeah, I love the reason. I mean, honestly, guys, auction 56 for Julio. Guys are going really expensive. People are going to run out of money pretty quick. Based on, okay, so I'm up. Let's see. I'll talk about strategy here in a second too. You can control your destiny in an auction. You can do, if you want to go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine too, Tommy. There's people that wanted to get on this and team on some gang, and Huddleston and Spear all bailed. If you're in the room, please let me know, but that's not cool. It said auction when you joined, so everybody should have known what they were getting into. It said, and I said it while I was doing it, but Juju, he was 44. Yeah, because now there are people that want to get in, and there's 3 people that just bailed. That's not cool. David Montgomery. So I called out Kittle, or I called out Kelsey because I don't want Kelsey. And part of the strategy was to toss him out to get people spending money. So my goal here in the position that I'm in, where I don't have a ton of players yet, I want people buying and spending money and running out of money, so that when the players do come up that I want, everybody's kind of running low and they're not willing to spend big amounts of money on the players that are left. That's my objective in calling out players. Everybody has a different take, and some people like to call their players out early. A lot of those people are impatient, though. And if you're really, really, really impatient, you could, just calling out a guy early could screw you pretty big. So David Montgomery, I bid 22 on him right here. I think at half the value of a Gordon, it's not bad. I don't think that's bad value for David Montgomery. In fact, I wish I kind of maybe put in one more bid for him, because that's pretty good. That's pretty good value. Le'Veon Bell was kind of expensive, or maybe about right. David Johnson seems a little high given that where Barkley and those guys went. So Mixon would be, since, and I could be wrong about Mixon myself, but since he's a guy that I'm not super, super, super high in, he's a guy I would definitely call out to try and get people to spend money on, but that's not horrible value right there at 47. So yeah, I wish I would have bid a little more on Montgomery. I think I was banking on somebody else doing it. And you can get in trouble. Like, so right here, if I'm trying to drive the value up and I start bidding and then nobody else bids, you can really screw yourself into owning a guy because no one else makes a bid and you end up bidding the guy up, and then somebody else doesn't bid, and then you're all of a sudden stuck with them. So you got to be careful in auctions too, that you don't get stuck with a guy. I think Mike Thomas is going to have a big year. He's the best running back, I think, in NFL history for his age of getting to the numbers that he's at. So I don't see how anybody can really consider him a bust candidate or a guy to regress. I like Mayfield at 17. That's not bad value, or 16. I keep saying a dollar more because I that would have been the winning bid. Antonio Brown is up. What a love or hated guy. You either believe he's going to do well or you can't stand Antonio Brown. But what's interesting is you'll see him go for a really high dollar amount in an auction when someone's not willing to spend the draft pick on him that warrants and equates to the same value. So right here, $39. You're getting close. So Julio's 55, and people aren't willing to draft Antonio Brown near Julio Jones. I'm not going to get Alshon Jeffrey. He's not my boy. I don't want to own him in any leagues. I somehow had him in 2. So Antonio Brown went for 45, not bad value. Montgomery could get 250 touches. Sure. Mokler. So what do you guys like to do? Do you guys like to be the one that's hitting the button early on to drive up value, or do you guys like to wait until the end and kind of scoop in and try and grab a guy? I'm always the guy that likes to just ramp it up to like 40. But again, occasionally that can burn you. Just make sure you don't do that on a player you don't really want. If you want somebody pretty bad, then I don't think you run too much of a risk of overbuying by a couple of dollars if you're almost willing to buy them at a certain amount. But it is fun to ramp up the value. You just got to be real careful you don't get stuck. So like for me, I was trying to up Kittle a little bit, but I very much like him and want him. Did I overpay a couple bucks? Maybe. But I like Kittle a lot, so. But at some point I would have stopped, so I was trying to ramp up. What are you saying, Tommy? What's going on, Ted? Keenan Allen went for $38, same as George Kittle, and that seems about right. That's about, those guys would be drafted kind of close to each other. But if you look at a player like, yeah, auto, it does screw it up. I'm kind of disappointed that we have 3 auto drafters. I almost want to make it to where if you bail in a draft, man, you got to wait out it. You got to wait a draft before you can come back in. Going with a kicker, Justin Tucker. Mike Evans on the board. Who's your team, Ted? You like your team, you said? Let's look at Team Ted. I would definitely try to ramp up Gurley's value so someone else would overpay for him. Yeah, but you got to be careful you don't get stuck with them. You really have to only ramp up players that you're willing to hold and be okay with if it goes badly and people don't. So I'm pretty happy getting Mike Evans at 47. To be completely honest with you, that's cheaper than a Julio, and I like him just as much as Julio. So Dalvin Cook is on the board. Current bid amounts 43. Zeke, Connor, and Gurley. I mean, it's a good core, but you do run the risk of. So $45 is the current bid for Dalvin Cook. Not bad when you consider some of the other price players. $45, Dalvin Cook. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't overspend in an auction because I knew I could go after another player. But let's see where this goes. I'm interested to see how crazy everyone's going to get on Darrell Henderson. $8 is the current bid on Darrell Henderson. 10, 11. Value for Cook, yeah, not bad. I'm going to sit out this Darrell Henderson one and just watch. Oh, 16. That's a lot. And if you would have waited to call out Darrell Henderson, you may have had people with such little money that you would have got him for maybe 10 or 11. It's such a strategy. It's so hard to predict. It's so hard to predict how high somebody's going to go. And QBs, like where do QBs go? Some people overspend, but typically the thing that doesn't match up in some auctions is guys will wait on a QB in a draft, in a regular snake draft, but then they'll overspend in an auction because they feel like it's real money. It's something different. They feel. I think they get back to, hey, I'm willing to spend the money because Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or whatever, they have a feeling of, hey, they are worth this amount of money. But in a draft, people are so set on being told, hey, you can't draft a QB until the fifth, sixth round. People are more apt to get outside of that thinking when they're just given money. T.Y. Hilton at 34, not bad value. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up, guys. Really helps the channel. There's still a lot of players left. What's up, Juice? Glad you're here, man. Wait, is this people? Yeah, I'm drafting with you guys. We do a first come, first serve to grab a spot. It is standard. Which is funny because usually I try the wide receiver approach, or wide receiver, triple wide receivers in the PPR format, but I still tried it in the non-PPR. Everything's kind of relative, and you might have people say that you go wide receiver more often in a PPR versus non-PPR, but relatively speaking, the wide receivers are still, in a sense, I mean, some very small amount of them have more value as a PPR player versus not when you're talking about just wide receivers. But you could say that some of the TD guys are even more valuable. And it makes for a good wide receiver approach in a non-PPR. Because if you dominate at the position, you're still dominating relatively to everybody else's wide receivers. So it doesn't always mean that you can't go with a wide receiver heavy approach just because you're doing a standard. I've won many leagues doing a wide receiver approach in a non-PPR. And I usually see me stack up at running backs. So that's why I decided to go this way, regardless of what format we chose. I wanted you guys to see the building of a team that didn't have the running backs, because I kind of switch it up on you to show you my approach for this, my approach for that. So this is my approach of going heavy outside of the running back position, and that's what I decided to do from the beginning. That's why you didn't see me bidding on Barkley or Zeke, who I traditionally would want. So on the clock now is Zach Ertz. He's on the board. If you're just joining us, we're doing an auction. I'm doing it with the followers. first 11 people to jump in with me got a spot. We're currently 32 picks deep, and boy, it's gonna be a long draft. Amari Cooper is on the clock, 16-17. Do I think Odell Beckham Jr. and AB are overhyped this year? You'd rather have Juju or Mike Evans, says Honest Abe. I mean, all four of those guys are pretty good, but I think AB has a lower ADP. Evans, Juju, well, Evans can fall at times, but Odell Beckham Jr., Evans, and Juju often go higher. So I don't think AB's getting overvalued. Will we still be drafting 1 hour from now? Maybe. So Chubb's going for quite a bit here. He's still decent value there, but 38, 37. Not bad. Yeah, Chris, I'm with you. I think Odell's going to have a big, big year. Monster year. He's going to be happy. I might turn this fan on. Did the audio just get bad, me turning that fan on? Chubb for 37 is pretty good value. I like it. Herman went on auto. I'm a snail, says Chubb. Can you guys hear that fan I just turned on? If it is, if it's loud, I'll turn it off. Nick Chubb went for 37. Adam Thielen is now being nominated. He's currently at $30. If you're just joining us, we're in the middle of an auction draft notification bell, so that you get alerted when I go live and you'll know the topic. And if it's a live draft, you'll be ready to roll. Make sure your ESPN login is good to go so that you can just click the link and accept the invite. We had a few people that didn't have their ESPN login information handy, and they were clicking on the link and they couldn't jump in. Nick Chubb at 37. AJ Green went at 28. Not bad value, but it's tough to know where AJ Green's going to be in 2019. Will he be back to form? Is he kind of done? Is he on the downturn? Adam Thielen at 40 seems like a pretty penny, given that Mike Thomas was at 64. Given that I think Lev Bell was in the 50s. But hey, Thielen's done it for quite some time, so I could be wrong on Thielen. I just think they're going to scale back a little bit. Still a lot of players left. If you're going to do the approach that I've done, where I've really just kind of let a lot of money get spent, it can backfire big time on you. Big time. But if you get a little bit nervous that there won't be a lot of good players left, like I started to make sure you grab a couple guys and then you can continue your sit back mode. I don't have a ton of money left, but rather than blow it all on one player right now, I feel like I have a good core in Evans, Mike, Thomas, and George Kittle. Those literally are, my first rounder, my second rounder, and Evans. Pretty much you could consider those back-to-back type bookend picks. And then Kittle could easily be my third rounder. So I will run out of money. I'm definitely stacking in a way that I've spent a lot of money on three guys, but Evans is the man. Edelman on the clock. Edelman's become quite the popular fourth-round pick. Some people talking third-round pick. I myself don't know that I could take him anywhere near that range, but I couldn't take him in the fourth round, to be completely honest. I didn't want to influence the vote there until after the pick, but Edelman to me is just a guy I'm avoiding. Diggs. Now this is interesting. Diggs and Thielen go back and forth. Who's going to be better? It's tough to say. I think Diggs definitely has the potential to be better than Thielen in 2019. Thielen's definitely proven it, but this offense is going to be changed. So it will be interesting to see how high Diggs goes. Right now he's only at 27, which is good value, and he goes at 27. Nice job. I'd rather pay 27 for Diggs than 40 for Thielen, but dude, anything can happen. And I think that was an auto pick because Spear, I was counting on Spear, and I think a couple that jumped out were mad that it was an auction. Like, how can you be mad about a mock draft? Like in any format, auctions are so fun. If you're not happy with an auction, it's probably because you just haven't done them often. They're so much fun. They're so much better. Derrick Henry on the block for 30 bucks. Not bad value there. It's my turn. So I nominated Mr. Cooper Kupp. A lot of players still left. A lot of money has been spent. There are two teams with over $100. The rest of us have anywhere between 80 and looks like 20 bucks, 16 bucks. 19 bucks are the teams with the lowest amount. Cooper Kupp went for $23 to Team Huddleston, who is on auto draft. Damn you, Huddleston. Can't believe we do our first auction draft and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people bail in the middle of it. Not happy about that. Is that fan too loud? Can you guys even hear that? I think I called out Cup because I wanted people to spend money on him because I'm not a big believer. As you notice, I'll call out a guy I may not want half the time just to get some money spent. It's kind of one of the main approaches I have. N'Keal Harry, $9. Not horrible, not decent value. Alshon, I'm not going after him. I've owned this guy too many times in leagues. Let's look at some of the teams while we're waiting. Team Spear is on auto draft. Gurley, Allen, Thielen, Ertz. We'll call that team Meh. Alshon went for 16. Team Huddleston, Bell, Hilton, Edelman, Cup. Not a fan of that team whatsoever. And it auto drafts. It went on auto draft, so I'm definitely not a fan of it. I'm upset at it. Team Reyes, David Johnson, Devontae Adams, Kelsey. Very similar team to the one that I've been building, just differently because it has a running back, but I like that. It's very, very strong 3. A lot of money spent though, similar to my approach. Cooks at 28 bucks. Oliver, Melvin Gordon, David Montgomery, N'Keal Harry, Dalvin Cook. You have very, very awesome running backs. Nice work. You guys have seen my team already. Mike Thomas, Mike Evans, and George Kittle. I love those 3. I did spend a pretty penny on them, though. Spear was locked out. He was still in the chat. Okay. You should be able to... I don't think you're locked out. You just got to select auto bid off. It's in the top left corner. Smitty drafting at 2, having trouble with my second and third picks. It's possible all my guys are gone. Would you do something like Thielen and Montgomery? I wouldn't do Thielen. I don't touch Thielen near the second round. You already got Kittle. I'd do Montgomery. I'd also, obviously, Mike Evans, if Mike Evans is there. Jared Cook went for $6. Okay, so team Lund, Jordan Howard, Devonta Freeman, Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper. Mayfield, Kamara, Drake, Beckham, Jared Cook, Tucker. I love the Beckham, Kamara, and Odell. That's a good core. Evan Ingram up for $13 right now. McCaffrey, Connor, Schuster. Decent 3 there, Herman. But then Henderson, Chubb, Cooks, Derrick Henry. Not too bad. Moakler, Elliott, Fournette, Diggs, and Zerline. And Ingram. He just got Ingram. Marlon Mack is on the board. What team is yours, Grant? Team Sum. Barkley, Mixon, Hopkins. Very good 3. And then I believe Team Sum is gone. Mac going for 22. Do I have a 23? I have a 23. Do I have a 24? I have a 25. Do I have a 26? Going once. Going twice. Actually going for... I have 26. Do I have a 27? Anybody done an auction themselves? But I do like this team. It just... He bailed, so now he can't finish it. Hoffman, Mack, Jones, and A.J. Green. Not bad. It's a little early, so it's tough to say whose team is the best. Please hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're in the room. I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. Auction Tuesdays. Maybe we will do that. I don't know. It's hard to plan too much because I have so much on my plate. Doing literally a YouTube video a day. The sleeperu.com content. If you guys don't have sleeperu.com, you need to get it. Jacobs, $23. Going once. Anybody got a 24? Grant, what was your team? Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Grant, what do you got? What's up, Dylan? Got to get some sleep. No problem. Yeah, it's a little late. I might do something early on Friday. I know a lot of people work, but maybe a midday show. I try and do these at night when people are home. And Josh Jacobs for 23 was pretty decent. Now up is Patty Mahomes. Current bid is $24 to moi. And sold to myself, Patty Mahomes. And I don't yet have a running back. So we'll see what this team looks like with no running back. I'm trying the no running back approach on purpose, mind you. So we'll see where Damian Williams goes. $23. Not a lot of people with huge amounts of money left, so that's not a bad spot to have him fall where people are like literally out of money. Yep. That's a steal right there. Damian Williams, 26. Considering the other guys. I like it. Kenny Golladay on the clock. $20. See, this is where it doesn't make much sense to me. Where Kenny Golladay is going for 20 and Damian Williams went for 26. But that's what happens when you get late in a draft. People are somebody that may not need a running back won't be spending money on him, and you have teams start to fill up. Later, Brock. You have teams start to fill up and they don't have the need for a certain player. They may not bid on that running back. So you'll see a running back go for a solid amount and you'll see a wide receiver go high. I will nominate Mr. Kerryon Johnson. potential top 10 to 15 running back in 2019. Yeah, definitely, Ted. Typically, I mean, in some occasions, like look at early on in this draft, you had you probably should have had Barkley go higher. So waiting to nominate Barkley could have cost you more. So usually the longer you wait, the better, almost always. But there are strange occasions where that happens. Yeah, Chris, that's why I'm trying this out, Chris, so you guys learn from these approaches. I'm doing the zero running back approach on purpose. I'm not bidding on a lot of these running backs at all. I want to see what kind of team that I build. This is a learning experience. Learning experience to see if you can build a team if zero running back approach works well in an auction. We will find out. Yeah, Damian Williams did go. Each mock draft I've tried a certain strategy out so you guys can kind of see how it goes. I did the zero wide receiver approach in the last one. This one I'm going zero running back approach to see if that will work. It kind of puts me at a disadvantage because I'm like kind of telling you what my strategy is going to be, but I think it's still a great lesson. I'd rather you guys learn from it than have me be happy with my team. Plus, if you still pull it off. Aaron Jones on the clock. $21. Not bad. Not bad value at all. Aaron Jones has top 5 to 12 running back upside. It's a big range because he has a big injury risk attached to his name, but very, very much capable of being, an elite top 5 to 10 running back. I like Aaron Jones a lot. Oliver, I'm just going to pretend it's PPR. In my mind, I kind of do that too. Who everybody else takes is different, but Brandon, Robert Woods went for $22. Aaron Jones went for 22. Cook went for 8. Kerryon Johnson went for 23. Before that, Kenny Golladay went for a whopping 20, considering that Damian Williams went for 26. Kickers nominated, so I'll keep going through some of this. Mahomes for 24 is actually really, really good value, but was that wise spending when you could get, as you mentioned earlier, Ted, Russell Wilson for 6, 7? We'll find out. Probably looking back, I was trying to drive his price up too, so it's another example of when you get stuck with a player. I'm happy with him. I'd only drive prices up on players I'm okay with getting, but maybe I would have had more success getting Damian Williams in that spot with spending $2 more. Yeah, I agree, honest Abe. We'll see what my team looks like if I can land anything that will work well with what I got. It'd be interesting at my flex though if I went like Tyreek Hill here. Just went with literally sleeper only running backs, guys that aren't even like in the lineup. I've done that before and won. Because if you land one player, and you even if you do spot duty or waiver wire, I mean you can get a Lindsey off the waiver wire. So if you land a Lindsey off the waiver wire during the season, and you get one player that ends up playing really well for you at your running back one, even though they're a very cheap, poor man's version of a running back one, you can clean up with your wide receivers, your QB, and your tight end. So it would be interesting to throw a Tyreek Hill into this lineup. Who wouldn't like that challenge? I would, but I'm crazy. I would love the challenge of having literally zero running backs minus the late round grabs and having that. So It would be a fun approach. The reason I don't do stuff like that live is because it's not everybody's cup of tea, and it definitely rubs people the wrong way. So, but it's something I would definitely consider trying, and I have done, and done well with it. Because if you land this, like Connor last year, James Conner was my number 2 bold prediction. Drafted him in every single league, pretty much I have. Agreed, Tommy. So, getting Connor with a team like this, if you add another wide receiver onto this that's potentially elite, and you land a James Conner, and then you pick up a Philip Lindsay, it's game over. So people can make fun of a team with a big, huge monster hole all they want. The bottom line is you can do a lot of things to make a team like this that I'm building play amazing, because running back sleepers are a lot easier to land guys that become big, huge, contributors than wide receivers. Wide receivers you usually see coming a little bit more. They're not a lot of diamonds in the rough, so to speak. Michelle went for 11. James White went for 13. We've got teams with, there's one team with $83 left. There's one with 42, one with 61. And then the rest are definitely... I agree with you, Abe. I think Ingram's good value here. I think this is good value here too. But, will he be suspended? I'm tempted. I just bid on Hill, and I have literally almost no money left. But he was at 10 when I bid on him, so I bid on him. I think at 11, and then he got bumped up to 15. So Tyreek Hill, very good value at $15. I think that's pretty awesome value. I'd say that's one of the better values in the draft. Even if he gets suspended 4 games, that's really good value. Nice work. Who's up nominating? Honest Abe, are you drafting or are you just commenting? I wasn't sure if you had actually had one of these teams. I wish you were in this draft if you aren't, because we had a couple people bail, which really bums me out. Literally, when we joined, there were like 3 or 4 people who were like, auction, I hate auction. Like, always guys like James White, Lindsay, and Thompson. Okay, so, God, we got so many players to go. We should go quick, though, once we all run out of money. Chris Carson on the clock. Tyler Lockett went for 13. Tyreek Hill went for 15. Hunter Henry went for 8. Sony Michel went for 11. Bears went for 5. Those were the last couple of bids. Tyreek at that point was my number 1 target. Tony, did you land Tyreek? That was a great value. I like David Montgomery juice over Philip Lindsay myself. I think he honestly is deserving of a top 25 overall pick as a rookie, even in yearly league, redraft leagues. Whereas I think Lindsay's more of a guy I think I take outside the top 30. That has upside. But I just usually take him that high. Carson went for 11. Now his counterpart, Rashad Penny, is up. Yeah, Montgomery just has top 10 appeal. He's a tackle breaking machine and going to be used a ton. Let's see what your team looks like, Tony. So Rashad Penny going for $5. Tony, what's your team name? Straight ripping. Found you. Henderson, Chubb, Cooks, Tyreek Hill, Henry, Derrick Henry. Nice. So Chubb and Henry are your starting running backs, and then that Hill was a great pick. I wish I could have shoved you guys into the auto drafting teams. They're still auto drafting as we speak. I was counting on Spear. He came over from Instagram because I was on their live telling everybody I was coming over here, and he bailed. I guess he got locked out. If you got locked out, I don't know how you got locked out because you can unlock it by just clicking that. But for whatever reason, if you got stuck and it wasn't your fault. If it wasn't your fault, I forgive you, buddy. So I landed my first running back. Oh, no, I didn't. We'll see. This is a high bid, though. I tried to get Mark Ingram, but I got sniped. That would have been a good running back. I would have been fine with him as my number one. Nice up bidding. Straight ripping. You were nominating. You were up. Team Lund. Nice job, Lund. You took my number one running back. That would have been a great running back to insert into my team. So lesson learned. Make sure you save enough money to get a steal like that. Because if you go zero running backs and you get Mark Ingram, that's a pretty damn good place to be. So here's an example of, well, actually, he's getting bid up kind of high. I was going to say, where I spent 24 on Mahomes. Why'd all my players disappear? Aaron Rodgers, $10. That's a steal. Pat, that's what happens when money gets spent, guys. You see a guy like look at my pick, Mahomes at 24, very good value. But when people run out of money, and if no one's called out QBs, $10 for Aaron Rodgers, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than $14 back. I could have got Mark Ingram and Aaron Rodgers instead of just Mahomes. So that's exactly why waiting to spend some money can help you. Rams go for $2. Let's look at what running backs are available. It's getting thin. Sammy Watkins went for $10. Lund, you said check out your running backs, Trey Bait City. Well, I'd be dialing you up if this were a league. Lund has Freeman. I don't know if Jordan Howard's Trey Bait City, but Carson, Ingram. I'm not a big fan of Carson either, but Ingram and Freeman I do like a lot. I do like those two. Bills defense went for $1. Deshaun Watson on the board. Max bid is, or the current bid is $3. Sniped in an auction, Ted. It happens. When you're out of money and somebody bids $1 more than you have, that's sniping an auction. that is how you get sniped. God, we got a lot of picks to go. No, I don't think he's getting up there though. Not a lot of backs left. QBs are going cheap. Tight ends are going. Well, Howard's $10. Yes, sir. He's getting there. O.J. Howard, $16 current bid. That's a pretty penny. Tyler Boyd. Who thinks Tyler Boyd could outscore A.J. Green in 2019? Anybody? I like Njoku a lot. Juice, if I'm targeting a tight end outside of the top three, that was the question I was asked. Kelsey, Ertz, and Kittle after they're gone. Who do you look for? I definitely target David Njoku most. Smitty pick up Tony Pollard for $1. No way on what? Njoku? I love Njoku. Njoku has top 5 tight end upside. That's okay, Tony. I overspent. Oh, no way does Boyd outscore A.J. Green? Yeah, I don't know that I'm not saying he will. I'm just curious. At some point, the changing of the guard will happen with Calvin Ridley and Julio, and could happen with Boyd and A.J. Green. It's just a matter of when. Ridley at 10 was a steal. Straight ripping. Absolute monster steal. One of the bigger steals of the second half of this auction. Nice job. Yeah. Savvy, this has been an overpriced auction. But again, my whole approach here was to go 0 running back, and definitely not something I'd recommend if you feel like the spending is out of control early. This would be a good lesson learned, because once spending is out of control, even if there are a lot of players left down the way, especially like wide receiver, QB, running backs dry up pretty quick, and there will still be enough money where people will spend way too much on running backs, and then you get screwed over. So my advice is probably to ensure that you get at least one running back if you're going to try and do something similar to a no running back approach. That way you at least have somebody starting for you. You know, you don't have like a huge monster hole in your... Auctions are fun, man. They're literally the most fun approach to take in I think, period, because you control your destiny. So I had to overspend for my running back one and Tevin Coleman. Not super happy, although he has a lot of potential. Um, not super happy with this result. Yeah, I know, Lund. You were running me up. It's all right. I was about to let him go to you, though. Then you've been stuck with yet another running back. In my opinion, not the best running back to be stuck with if you're trying to run up, because I don't know that he has. Look at this, $10 for Luck's not bad. $11 current bid for Luck. Team Lund. Ted, you can get 2 of either Mack or Montgomery or Jones if you wait. Agreed? So we have teams with 31, 19, 15. Straight ripping us $36. Everybody else is kind of around the same. So anybody with about $10 left are like pretty much done spending. They're allotted $1 per the rest of their picks, roughly. I mean, there might be like a $2 max bid or something for those. What do you think about Cook as a mid-round tight end target? I like Cook. I'd say like he has potential for top 6 to 10. Currently winning the bid is Lund. Lund loves his running backs. He's got a max or a high bid of 4 on Rojo. Rojo off the board to Lund for $4. I used to do auctions a lot in a lot of my leagues. You get like horse, and you get like almost you need like a break. Someone needs to fill in for you if you're doing an auction, because you're like literally going. I got $1. Do I have a $2? New Orleans Saints $1 going once, going twice. Oh, do I have a $3? Like, I don't know if you guys have ever done the auctioning at your draft. Usually, someone has to give you a little bit of a break. And the Saints go off the board for $1. If you're in the room, please hit that thumbs up, guys. It helps the channel a ton. More than you know. DJ Moore on the clock. $5. Boom. He's off the board just like that. Either love or just don't buy into DJ Moore. You just wear a diaper? Well, I mean a break from speaking, because you have to go going once, going twice, like. But a diaper ain't a bad idea. I should have wore a diaper on my 24-hour live stream. Tony, I don't know if you knew, but when I launched the Fantasy Football Show, of course I've had Sleeper U for a long time, but when I launched the Fantasy Football Show, especially the YouTube show itself, in February I did a 24-hour live stream where I live streamed for 24 straight hours. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try it again in August. It was quite. I took like 4 or 5 1-minute, 2-minute bathroom breaks, but I literally like ran as fast as I could to do it to get back so nobody would leave. Because back then I didn't have very many followers yet. So anybody that I had come in the room, I'm like, I got to keep them in. So I've ran back. We've grown a lot since February. So I think doing it in August when we have maybe we'll have 25, 35, 4,000, maybe hope for lucky 5,000 subscribers by then. Who knows? I don't know how fast it's going to grow here soon, but thanks to you guys, this channel is growing big pretty fast. So I can't thank you enough for the support. But yeah, it was a tough 24 hours straight. I don't know if anybody's done anything remotely close to that. If anybody's done anything close to remote, doing like a 4 hour speech even. I almost had Sanders. I was outbid, I believe, auto draft. Son of a bitch. But I had Sanders. That would have been a decent running back too to have for this situation. Damn auto draft. You screwed me. You love the Dallas D. I had Monsters, Tony. I had Coke. I had Miss Smitty bring me my food. And I rang this bell. I'm not gonna do it now because it'll wake the whole house up. But I have a bell in here that's like as loud as like a church bell, and it's this little thing I got on Amazon. It's like the most loud, hardcore bell, and I rang it every time I got a subscriber during the show, all through the night. So when Miss Smitty awoke from her very bad night of sleep, Miss Smitty made me eggs. She was a trooper during the whole thing. Oh, Baller, you took him. I got you. Way to go, Baller. Way to screw up my draft. Mike Williams, $6. Not bad. All right, who do we nominate here? We'll try your Lat Murray. So again, case in point, guys, if you're doing, I entered this draft with the plan of to show what a zero running back approach would look like in an auction. If you have spending through the roof in the beginning, that doesn't mean it's going to. Yeah, Ballard, perfect case in point. Don't do this in an auction. This is a perfect example. Get at least one running back if spending is out of control. Because what will happen is, even though it's out of control and it will slow down, it may slow down after all of the running backs, the big name running backs, are overspent on. So if you blow your wad on wide receivers and a QB, look what happens to your running backs. What's up, Jake? Very, very good lesson to learn. Auctions are fun. Auctions, even the best person can get screwed on an auction strategy. You could also dominate and get exactly who you want and be an amazing team. I think the safest way to go is to not go heavy on one side or the other. The safest way to go, I think he went for 5 or 6 or something more than a max bid than I had. A safe way to go would be to ensure you get one running back and one wide receiver that you really like. And then if you do end up hitting a rut where there just aren't players left, you at least have a decently well-rounded team. But we're in this case right here. I mean, I still think this team, honestly, would compete, especially if I landed some later sleeper running backs and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you can, Abe. You just have to, in my case, spend on just one of those wide receivers. So there's nothing wrong with, I mean, look at the value of the QBs, though, here in this auction. They aren't always that way. But in this case, I'd have been far better off going Aaron Rodgers, who is still a big gun QB that probably should have went for way more than $10 in an auction. Straight ripping. Leading the bid. Cream Hunt for $5. Not too bad. We'll see what happens with the whole. It sounds like nothing's going to happen to him. He's not going to get suspended, but we'll find out. Anything can happen. Deonta Foreman's an interesting player. He definitely could have appeal, I think, in 2019. He's one of those guys you can grab at the very tail end of your draft. In this case, a buck, and or $2. Sorry, Mokler. He's like, shut up. Stop talking about him. Unfortunately, I got to talk about these players as they're getting drafted. And the auto draft team takes the lead. He's got sent Carson for Hunt in a redraft. I just don't believe in Carson, though. You almost have to consider that though in a redraft because Hunt will be out for so long. But if you had Chubb, I'd say no way. Keep Chubb and Hunt together. Marvin Jones. He's kind of a forgotten man this year. I don't know if Marvin Jones will have a big year, but I don't know that he's necessarily going to be Mr. Irrelevant like everybody's kind of drafting him as. Or four is decent here, so I think he's getting the respect in this group. But Marvin Jones, I see getting disrespected in drafts everywhere. Sterling Shepard on the board. So we have a team with $7. We have a team with 14, team with 6, team with 20, team with 16, 7, 11, 14, 16, 12, 10, 10. Really only the team with $10, $20 straight ripping is really in the process of outbidding people. Everybody else kind of has enough money allotted for the rest of their picks. So we should speed up here. Pick 98, we're still ways. Part of me wishes we could knock the bench off and not even go through some of this because no one cares about, I think, the final spots of your roster. Day Westbrook, $2. Will Fuller on the board. We can cut it short at $1 players. That's fine. I don't think it's going to be a lot of replay value anyways at that point. So lessons learned here, guys. I'll look through all the teams as soon as we get through and down to $1 each. But if you look at the draft that I have here, lesson learned. Look at the hole I have at my running back 2 spot. I still firmly believe this team would compete. I have so much firepower behind Thomas, Evans, Kittle, and Mahomes, and Coleman. And Coleman's decent upside given the situation. But clearly a hole. If I would have... I don't think I can change the draft parameters because this draft was already set. Agreed, Ted. So, we'll see. I still think this team would survive. I'd make it work. I'd land one sleeper running back somewhere because that's what my main skill is for. If I had to pick one thing I do best at fantasy football, and we all have that. Some of us are great waiver wire people. Some of us are great traders. Some of us are great drafters, and then people trade their good players away and don't trust their gut instinct. There's a lot of things that people fight in order to so a lot of people struggle with that. Hey, do I stick to my gut instinct in drafting this player or drafting that player? And sometimes that ends up burning somebody if they trade away the guys that they believed in early. Sometimes people trade into good teams using players that they drafted. So it all depends on your abilities as a fantasy football owner and catering to your own skills. Later, Honest Abe. Yeah, I should have got Montgomery. I agree. But again, Savvy, I was trying to go zero running backs with my first 5 picks on purpose, and Montgomery was one before that. I almost detoured from that just to grab Montgomery. I did try and bid him up. I've tried to bid up a few of the running backs, but I specifically stayed out of most running back bidding to implement and fail on. Try to succeed doing it, but if I failed, I failed at building a good running back core. But I stuck to that approach on purpose as a way to try out the strategy and see what works and what doesn't. So Savvy, I was I was trying to not get a running back until my 5th pick on purpose to see it. These are mocks. It's good to learn and show you guys different approaches, what works, what doesn't. Next time, if I try it, I might go um, running back, or maybe I'll try, and I'll announce before I do it, or I'll try and do a more balanced approach. See what that looks like, going running back, wide receiver, and then picking. Oh, yeah, thanks, Tony, but I didn't even get Freeman. All right, let's get this down to like a buck soon so that we can do a review and jump off for the night. I don't think we're going to go through the whole thing. Straight ripping. Christian Kirk. So, Team Spear looks like only, I think, straight ripping. 18 bucks on Kirk. Are you bouncing, Tony? Is that the sign you're taking off? Or is Rippin trying to end the draft? You didn't have to do that, Rippin. Tony's like the most generous guy in the world. He blows his $15 wad on Kirk to get the draft going. We'll pick a few more. I want to get some running back. I want to get a running back or two in there so that we can know what it looks like. I won Jalen Samuels. Okay, so things could have been a lot better for me. I'll do the review here. So here's team one that I'm looking. Or team. We'll go through team one first. We'll go. So Spear was auto drafted. Gurley, White, Allen. Honestly, I think my team even. Thanks, Tony. You're the man. Um, honestly, I think my team, even with my weak running backs, would beat this auto drafted team here. Huddleston, Team Huddleston, Bell, Jacobs, Hilton, Edelman, Walker, Cup, Galladay, Michelle. Not super into that team. I mean, I like Bell. I like Hilton a little bit. I like Jacobs, but no big guns there. I'm not super thrilled about that team. Honestly, wouldn't be excited about it. David Johnson, Adams, Kelsey, Hunter Henry. Um, auto pick team, and they've been missing out on a lot of players. So I don't know if the guy bailed after he'd spent all the money, but definitely a team struggling here to have holes filled. So we can't even really look at that team because the auto draft. Um, Team Oliver. I guess I'm supposed to nominate a player. Okay, Team Oliver. Watson, Melvin Gordon, David Montgomery, Woods, Dalvin Cook. So this is deceiving because you're reading it and then you see Dalvin Cook down here. So Dalvin Cook, Montgomery, and Gordon and Watson, very, very strong. Wide receivers, you got to expect wide receivers to be, not weak, but like lighter, on the lighter side when you have that stacked running back. So very good team. I think this would be a top 5 team for sure. Thanks, Joseph. Are we getting to my team? Okay, so here's my team. So again, guys, I want to make sure you know that my plan was to go in and do a zero running back. It did not work as well as I would have liked. Do I honestly believe I could make this team work? I do. I think Coleman and Samuels will be better than people think. But Mike Thomas, Mike Evans, George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes would score so many points if I land one of my running backs to go along with Coleman. So if I load up on Samuels, if I was to grab Devin Harris later, if I was to grab players like that. So Devin Harris, I think, is a great player to throw out in this situation. I think, land one or two running backs and make this team a top 4 team, even the way it looks. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, and usually you like your own team and you're biased toward it. But this has so much scoring power with Kittle, Evans, Mike Thomas, and Patrick Mahomes. It's just one player away. But if I didn't land that player, my team wouldn't win. This strategy, the best way to have made this strategy worked was, and someone hit the nail on the head, was to have gone after Montgomery, who was like $24, $25, and passed on Patrick Mahomes and taken a $2 or $3 or $4 QB later. All right, Ted, have a good one. So that would have been the way to save this zero running back approach. But I didn't want to take a running back until my 5th player. So that's why I did that. So I would say this isn't an epic fail, but it's definitely an approach you need to be careful with and make sure you get at least one running back. Lund, Luck, Freeman, and Ingram are the top running backs. I don't consider Howard a starter at this point, but maybe he's your flex. But you have Kerryon Johnson, so I don't know why Howard's in there. But Cooper and Antonio Brown, Luck, I like this. This could be a top 5 team. Nice job, Lund. Collins, Mayfield, Kamara, Drake, Beckham, Odell Beckham Jr., Jared Cook, Watkins. Not bad. I think if Drake lands, this team could get in the mix. I think Mayfield, Kamara, and Beckham score you a ton of points and could keep you in top 6 contention all year. And if you just land one or two things, you're golden. This team, McCaffrey, Connor, Juju, it has some firepower, but it got auto-drafted at a point, so it isn't a team that I like a lot. Straight ripping. Chubb. He got Hunt, so he locked himself into top 5 to 10 running back numbers with this spot. I am in the minority, I think, in saying that if Hunt were suspended, I would like Nick Chubb less because I think the duo is super important, and the duo is what's going to help you win and dominate in 2019. Tyreek Hill was a steal for him, so Chubb, Hill, Cooks, Ryan. If some things landed for this team, it could be top 6. Moakler, Rogers, Elliott, Fournette, Diggs, Godwin, Lindsey. I like that. Definitely, I'd say even top 4. Nice job, Moakler. Barkley, Mixon, Hopkins, Moore, Doyle, Barber. Not bad. It got auto-drafted, so it kind of didn't. It started picking weird. Good start, but then just didn't finish because it got auto-drafted. And then Hoffman. Hoffman is last. Breeze, Mack, Damian Williams. Underrated running backs considering you went Oh, we got Aaron Jones too. So Aaron Jones, Mac, Damian Williams. None of them are like huge guns. Damian Williams kind of has that appeal, but fantastic running backs. I think in the end, Breeze is going to be better than people give him credit for. I mean, what a good value at $2. And then AJ Green and Julio. Yeah, I like this team. I'd say top 6. So there's probably more than 6 that I named that had that potential, but they really do all have that kind of appeal. So here I'd select. What do you guys think of those ratings? Anybody like one team in particular, like way above the rest of them? Savvy or Oliver or Lund? So Damian Harris was drafted. So that's another running back. I would have loaded up on those types of players. So to have, again, 0 running back, not the most attractive look, especially with what happened at running back here. But Coleman, Samuels, Damian Harris, it's not crazy to think that I could get some sleeper appeal out of those guys, but definitely not an approach you'd want to go into. Look at Hoffman's depth. Let's look. Royce Freeman, Lamar Miller, Miles Sanders I like. I don't know if I like. Freeman's okay. Sanders, yeah, I like Aaron Jones. I like Damian Williams. I like Mac. I like Breeze. I like Julio. That's a good, well-rounded team. I think he's definitely. Tony, let's look at your team one more time. Let's look at Tony's team one more time. I'm gonna draft one more running back and then we'll call it here. Because I think we got everybody wanting to bail because it's so late. Let's look at straight ripping. Let's see if ripping is ripping. So Ryan, it's hard seeing Henderson up there because he's more of like, he could get into your flex role. But Chubb, well, I guess you're actually gonna roll with him, right? He'd be your starter. Yeah. Okay, so Chubb, Henderson, which it could work. It's just a matter of if he'll be in there right away. Oh, hold on, I gotta nominate. Okay, so Ryan, Henderson, Chubb, Brandon Cooks, Tyreek Hill, O.J. Howard, Derrick Henry. Oh, Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, Tony. Wasn't looking at your flex spot. I drafted Adrian Peterson. Not too bad. See, getting some running backs in there. But Henry, Chubb, you got Hunt. Hunt was so key. And again, I can't stress enough. I like Chubb better with Hunt. If Hunt got released tomorrow, I think he'll be okay. It sounds like it's going to blow over with no suspension or any issues, but we never know with the NFL. But Chubb with Hunt is a top 5 to 10 running back. Chubb alone, I don't like as much because I fear he's going to get hurt at some point. It's drafting a lot faster. We could almost wait it out. If anybody wants to, I'd consider it. Let the draft go all the way. Trying to click, everything's slowing down. So, Devin Harris as my flex, or however you want to look at that. I think Devin Harris is going to have a top. Well, I think at some point he'll be a viable, like really good flex player in fantasy football 2019. I think that at some point the Patriots will use him. I like Jacobs, but I guess I'm up again. I timed out. I drafted Hamilton on accident. Do I draft a defense? Sometimes Juice I wait until if I don't get the defense I want, I will skip a defense altogether and then pick one up later. But looking at this team, so Adrian Peterson, Tevin Coleman, Jalen Samuels, Damian Harris. Honestly, I if this were because I'm a little bit crazy, I'm on the crazy side, and because I love challenges and because I love unorthodox teams and landing the Jalen Samuels. Like if Samuels becomes this year's version of James Conner, my team would, in my opinion, dominate, like flat out dominate, because I would be filling a hole that I sincerely need. But I would need to land that. So if Samuels became a top 10 running back paired with Coleman, who's borderline a pretty decent running back too, I wouldn't have a single hole in that roster. But I'd have to land something like that, no question about it. Um, oh, I'm up again. And what I would do in this situation is grab guys like this. So I just grabbed Devin Singletary. So between Devin Singletary, Adrian Peterson, Jalen Samuels, Tevin Coleman, and Damian Harris, if you had to go zero running back, you literally are drafting like no good running backs. And you're going with all sleepers. These are the guys you want to accumulate on your roster because Singletary by midseason could be unleashed or he could be misused. But he has that potential. Damian Harris by midseason could be utilized a ton and be really a surprise running back in this 2019 season. Because if you look back, I like carry on a little bit. They're going to run a lot, so if he can stay healthy, he's going to have a big year. But they could mismanage and misuse him as well. And let me show you another couple moves that I might make here. Yeah, no, I agree, Baller. If I could go back, the one move I would do is get um, Montgomery and get a $2 or $3 QB, and then this team would look really damn scary. That one move, but again, Baller. My point was to hold on. I gotta pick somebody. My point, Baller, was to not take a single running back until my fifth player. So I couldn't really take Montgomery against what I was trying to show and implement to do as an example. So I know you keep saying that, but my whole point was not to take a running back until the fifth round, until my fifth pick. I mean, so Montgomery would have been before that, and I did drive him up, and I was tempted to go off path to get him because he was so cheap, but I did get outbid and then I let it go. My turn to nominate. No problem, Oliver. So Darwin Thompson would be another big time sleeper to throw on my bench. I would like to screenshot this team because I think a lot of people are going to say that this was a botched attempt, and I agree. There were ways to make this team dominant instead of having it have huge holes. But I would love to screenshot this team and look back at that season's end and see if there are players in here that could absolutely dominate and that would absolutely dominate and make this team into because if one of those players landed, okay, I got to pick another person. So even Benny Snell, having Samuels and Snell together, I almost I would say that Benny Snell and Samuels together feels like the biggest. I would say at some point, if I had to put money, yeah, if I would have done one thing different, but again, I had to draft. I couldn't draft Montgomery. It would have changed the direction of what I wanted to try. I need to go wide receiver. MVS is a great pick at this point. it would have taken me off course. So I had to wait on a running back to try and do this. But I'm going to take a screenshot of this team. Actually, it'll be in the video. So we'll just reflect back on it. So I need what a kicker. This is going to force us to do a kicker and a D, right? Thomas will dominate. Kicker. Whatever, give me anybody. Okay, I'm done. So, not going a single running back, trying to literally sabotage myself to see if it will work. I still ended up with an okay team. And I think that if I have one player land, here's my team. If I have one of my running backs land, just one of them to pair with Coleman, because I think Coleman will do okay, I will have a team that would be pretty unstoppable. But I need one running back to land. Thomas ain't sharing anything, man. Thomas he's one of the most productive receivers at his stage in his career. That I think number 1 or number 2 ever. So he has a boatload of usage. He'll be fine. So MVS was a great flex type player to throw into my lineup at some point. Maybe he's my flex. But between all my running backs, so this is going 0 running back until late. Benny Snell, Jalen Samuels, Damian Harris, Adrian Peterson, Devin Singletary, Alexander Madison, and Darwin Thompson, and Tevin Coleman. Not that bad, honestly. It was looking grim, but that's one way to pull it out when you have Mike Thomas, George Kittle, Mike Evans, Patrick Mahomes, and Tevin Coleman to throw with those. So, I honestly would be, if this was like a money league, I would actually walk out of this being kind of excited for the challenge, because I think out of those running backs, one of them is going to land. Maybe by week 1, I'm starting like AP and Tevin Coleman, and I'm kind of weak at running back for a while. But between Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell, I'm going to get, in my opinion, some major starts out of one of those guys. And then between Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, Darwin Thompson, and, I think those guys would end up stepping up. So not a great approach. I don't recommend you try this without getting like that Montgomery at the fork in the road for me, where I was at my 4th pick. Do I take David Montgomery? I didn't want to, because I wanted to go 0 running back. But if you were at that stage and you're like, hey, this is looking grim at running back, change courses a little bit, take a David Montgomery. But we'll see. We'll see where this team ends up at the end of the year. I can't wait to look at it. Do you think Kittle will be worth his ADP? I absolutely do. I think Kittle could easily be as good as Kelsey in 2019. I love Kittle. My top 4 here I absolutely love. Thomas, Kittle, Evans, and Mahomes would absolutely flat out dominate. That would keep me in a top, I think, 6-7 contention with all these rosters, in my opinion. And then literally me winning it or being 6 or 7 on the year would have everything to do with landing one of those running backs. I couldn't win, I don't think, if I didn't get one of them to land. So I admit that, and it does look like a crazy weighted team in a disadvantage in terms of having running backs in a standard league. But that was fun. I appreciate it, guys. That was really good draft, good experience, good to try out a 0 running back approach. How do you think it did? Leave a comment. Do you think that it was, if you had to do that, do you think that you could win with that approach? Would you be extremely worried? Would you look at it as a challenge? The difference would have been, I think, in the Mahomes, drafting Mahomes or auctioning on Mahomes and getting Mahomes at $24 when I could have went with a Wilson or a much cheaper option. Even if you went Aaron Rodgers at $10, that would have given me 14 more dollars. I could have probably got a Mark Ingram, which would have changed the dynamic of my team a lot. But I still love it. I would go to battle with this team. I know I'm crazy, and I know I love a challenge, and I know a lot of people would be crapping in their pants having the running backs that I had there. But I think I would do okay with it. I think I would land one of those running backs. So, you want me to look at the teams one more time? Let's see. Does it show me like a grid? No, I don't think it does. It's a good learning experience, Grant. It really is. Roethlisberger, Gurley. Not a fan of that team, but it was auto drafted. Huddleston. We got Kyler Murray, Bell, Jacobs, Hilton. I mean, I'm sorry, but as much holes as I have, I think that team isn't gonna. Trubisky, David Johnson, Hyde, Adams, Cootie, QT, Cootie, Kelsey, Hunter Henry. That team wouldn't scare me. Even without running backs, that wouldn't scare me. Oliver, Watson, Gordon, Montgomery, Harry, Woods, Njoku, Dalvin Cook. Very, very solid team. Completely capable of being top 5 even. Yeah, Savvy, I mean, that's my whole point, is that I'd have to land a running back. If I landed Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell, something I predict to be one of my biggest breakout candidate predictions for 2019, Snell and Samuels will win a league, I think, for people, then my team absolutely hits a home run. If I don't get one of those, if I don't get Damian Harris to step up, if Samuels and Snell didn't step up, if Darwin Thompson didn't ever get injected into the lineup, if I literally had AP and Tevin Coleman only, I would be in some trouble. And speaking of that, let's go to my team. So Tevin Coleman, Jalen Samuels. Obviously Samuels, I even Singletary got in there. I would be scary. Thompson. I didn't mean to draft Hamilton. I was talking and I got auto drafted. I probably would have got another running back there, just to stock up. But Mahomes, Mike Thomas, Mike Evans, George Kittle. I mean, that's fire, man. Those are, but it comes at a cost. Look at Tevin Coleman, Samuels. But I still like that team. This again, if you're just joining, zero running back approach on purpose. And did it fail? Did it? Will it land? Who knows? We will find out and review this at the end of the year. Luck, Freeman, Kerryon Johnson, Mark Ingram. I don't know why Howard slotted in there, but he is. That's not the top running back. Ingram should be in there. Cooper, that's the top 6 team right there. Nice job. Collins, Mayfield, Kamara, Drake, Beckham Jr. Please hit the thumbs up on your way out, guys. Cook. That team's got potential if Drake lands, like I said earlier, if Watkins. Odell, Kamara, Mayfield alone will keep it in it, but really it needs a couple other things to happen, which they could. Wentz is a good backup, but you definitely need a thing or two to happen to get in the mix, just like me. I need a thing or two to happen to get into that mix, and there's nothing wrong with that if you believe in those guys that you have there. Herman was auto-drafted, you can tell, because it had some big guns in McCaffrey, Connor, and Schuster. A lot of money blown, and then it looked like it got left. So Tony has a pretty uniquely built team. Never mind, you got some good running back depth. Who? Me? Ryan, Henderson, Chubb, Cooks, Hilton, Derrick Henry. Yeah, so Chubb, Derrick Henry, and then, if Henderson lands, then that's when straight ripping would absolutely start ripping it. Moakler got Rodgers, Elliott, Fournette, Diggs, Godwin. Oh, you weren't around for a couple of picks? Yeah, I'll show you my team again in a second. This isn't bad, Mokler. Think you'd do okay. This was an auto draft team. Hopkins, Mixon, Barkley blew all its money and walked away. So Breeze, Mack, Damian Williams, Julio, Green, very top 6 worthy. I like it. Good teams. There's a few of them that I've mentioned that were top 5, top 6 worthy. Again, here's my team, Savvy. I know it was easy to rip on it at first, but honestly, man, yeah. So Savvy, I think this would work. I think with AP for a little while at least, Coleman, Samuel, Snell. I think Singletary is going to be a beast at some point. And I like Valdez Scantling going into my flex spot. And then Damian Harris. Damian Harris, I think, is going to be so valuable. I'd make this team work. Savvy, I would, if I could, I'm not going to do it, so don't get too excited. I have too many leagues. But I would pay money to run this team because it would be such a fun challenge. The zero running back approach to me is fascinating. It's fun. You land one of those sleeper running backs, and I mean land it big. You have to land it big. You blow up. You crush everybody if you land one of those sleeper running backs. It is not an approach for everybody. A nervous fantasy football drafter would lose sleep over this team and email me constantly. Oh my God, I screwed up. What do I do? I would love it. I would love to run this team. This team would be so fun to take into battle. And for those joining, I did this on purpose, the zero running back approach. I wanted to see what it would look like. And honestly, I was a little bit nervous, especially being this on video, that I got all my running backs taken. And a couple of you didn't help knowing the situation I was in, bidding up some of the players. Almost got Miles Sanders would have helped this look a lot. And he got Lund, I think it was you, that upped Miles Sanders quite a bit. Darwin, Madison, yeah, those are steals for me. All guys that could step in, but if I would have got Miles Sanders, things would have been a touch better. But I like this team, man. I honestly, I know I'm crazy. I know a lot of people are going to hate it. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments. Oh my God, your running backs suck. Not listening to the fact that I did this on purpose to try and see if I could do it. I went zero running back, and I think it came out pretty good. But a couple of you I said had top 5, top 6 teams. I think there are definitely like five or so teams that could really, really make a push to win it. And then one or two that need, like me, that need one or two things to happen. But then boom, right there. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out. That was pretty fun. That was a good 2-hour show. Auctions, note to self, an auction is going to take at least 2 hours. But I appreciate you guys doing it. It was fun. Next time, hopefully we don't have people jump in and then bail. That really is a downer. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Please like, please share, and until next time.